Like, what could we do to like lower the temperature in the room on like just saying like, hey, you're not the only one. And we had this idea of why don't we do a podcast episode just talking about like embarrassing stories we had on the job search, right? Like, and we've got a lot of them. Like it's not like it's like one story. Like I think I have like 10 or 12.
10 or 12, like, okay. I do get people texting me, like, there's a, guaranteed $27 an hour warehouse job ready for me.
I do get those too. I think I put my resume on Indeed, like, when I was like a junior in college or something, and I still get messages for that resume. I don't know how they still have it, but
you're making that big podcast money. The whole like,
no, I was like, I'm
$3,000 a year.
I'm standing on principle. I want to have a voice in the community. Like now,
principles are so overrated. Welcome to Direction Correct, a People's Podcast with Cole and Scott. Today's guest, nobody.
There we go.
There we go.
Hey, Directionally Correct fans. If you're looking to stay connected to the podcast, make sure to subscribe to our Substack newsletter, watch our videos on YouTube, or listen to the podcast on your app of choice. This podcast is dedicated to you to help educate and entertain you on how to effectively do people analytics. All opinions are our own and do not reflect those of any other organization. I had to get like in the right mental space to do the podcast because,
of course,
obviously you know this, but most people don't. We record these in the middle of the workday, and sometimes like right before somebody sends you like a message and you're like, you completely messed this up, and then it's in the back of your mind, and I'm like, I got to get that out of my head. Got to get it out of my head. But yeah, I just had like one of those. It's not like it was. They were right. We did mess it up. But now I'm just like, that's like cycling through my mind.
Well, you're not talking about things messed up on the podcast. You're talking about things messed up at work and someone's messed up.
Yeah, like at work.
Gotcha.
Like where real money is made, not the fake monopoly money from this podcast.
No, that's good hygiene. I just turned off my notifications too, just in case. We have like four. That may be like a low end communication platforms. So there's no just like one turning it off. There's, you got your Slack and your like internal communication, and, apparently you can message on Teams now. And like now there's like another thing like Zoom.
Yeah. And you eventually make it to smoke signals, and you're like, at a certain point you just go, the person's trying to not be contacted.
Yeah. I guess it gives you like plausible deniability to be like, I don't use that platform. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
well, then they like move to like your phone. They'll text you and they like send you a message on a messenger app on the phone. It's like, isn't this redundant?
I appreciate the aforementioned Tillman Sheets who said, "Hey, man, they'll call back if it's important. If you miss it, you miss it."
That's a very tenured professor look on life.
Yeah, you have to have a little status for that one, right?
True. Well, I mean, one of the funny thing about sharing like this kind of stuff is I don't think sometimes people realize like we're like real human beings, like, and like we like have real lives. Like it's like things exist outside of this podcast of like us talking to people and stuff. And so
the podcast does take up a lot of time and mental energy, but yes, there are other things going on.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about in that vein is I don't know about you, but a lot of people reach out to me about like getting jobs and stuff. So it's been sort of a hard time. And a lot of people like if there were like a construct of it, the construct is this: person is looking for a job. They're ashamed of it. They feel like they're the only person in the world who is like having a hard time and everybody else is succeeding. I mean, you could call it like the Instagram effect on life, where people like look on Instagram, it looks like everybody's on vacation and flying on private jets, and they're just sitting there living their normal life, in quiet misery or something like that. and the reality is I get, if not tens, hundreds of these messages a year and like have these conversations, and it's like, you're not alone.
It is very much like that, I don't know. I know you're going to call it like little image of the guy like going up the stairs, carrying like a weight like Sisyphus, and like no one sees that. They just see you like as a champion on top of the pedestal. Like you don't have a job until you do.
Exactly. And the funny thing is if you like ask anybody we know, everybody's got like embarrassing stories or like things that they had to overcome or just like stuff that was challenging on the road to get there. And like here's the secret that's not a secret. Everybody's failing or has failed or is failing or will fail. And so
it's good to fail. It's good
to fail. And so if it feels like you're the only one that's failing, you're not. And so I think we had this idea today about how could, like, again, I get these questions all the time. I'm sure you do too. Like, what could we do to like lower the temperature in the room on like just saying like, hey, you're not the only one. And we had this idea of why don't we do a podcast episode just talking about like embarrassing stories that we had on the job search, right? Like, and we've got a lot of them. Like it's not like it's like one story. Like I think I have like 10 or 12.
10 or 12, like, okay. Yes. No one reaches out to me. At least I don't like check my messages, so I wouldn't know. Yeah. I wouldn't know if people are reaching out. But this is going to be fascinating because I know that you are an interview pro, and that comes with taking a lot of interviews, taking a lot of missteps too, I'm sure.
Well, you've mentioned this before on the podcast. One of the pieces of advice I used to give, I actually don't give it anymore because I don't actually abide by it anymore, but it was just never turn down an interview.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I think that's a really good advice earlier in your career. I think at the point I'm at now, it would just be counterproductive sometimes, but I think like it just gives you practice. But in the process of never turning down an interview, you can have a lot of really wild situations that come up.
I do get people texting me like there's a guaranteed $27 an hour warehouse job ready for me.
I do get those too. I remember I think I put my resume on Indeed like when I was like a junior in college or something, and I still get messages for that resume. I don't know how they still have it, but yeah, it's like, hey, you want to be a warehouse worker in Monroe, Louisiana? Not in particular, no.
I mean, some days like, you think it'd be nice to shut it off at the end of the day. There's no more boxes to move.
Well, I was wondering, do you want to kick us off, Scott, in terms of any embarrassing stories? I know you've got a few as well. We don't know what each other's stories are either. So like this, we're finding out in the moment. Like this is any reaction.
You want me to kick this off? I mean, it sounds like you got a bunch of them, but yeah, I'll work. I got just a couple. Okay. My most embarrassing story. I was working in Waco, Texas, for a small psychometrics firm. It was very, very low pay, and I was taking interviews all over the place. And one place that bit was Farmers Insurance in L.A. It's right next to Bel Air.
So we're naming companies. All right. Well, I'll get brave and do that.
Well, this has nothing to do with them, and all embarrassing on me. Like they had very little, very reputable company, all this sort of stuff. So I'm very young and like immature and this sort of thing, and I'm like, they're flying me to L.A. I need a suit, but I'm not a suit guy, right? But I know that I bought one at Goodwill like 5 years prior, and it's at my parents' house in Dallas. So I go to Dallas, I see it in the closet, I throw it into a bag along with some like dress shoes and like the whole deal. And I get to LA, and like it's the morning of the interview. Like I was just there overnight, and I open up the bag, and it fucking reeks. It stinks so bad, like old closet, just musty as. I mean, unbelievable. Like, holy shit! What am I gonna do? So I lay it on the bed, and like the only thing that I have is like my deodorant. So I'm like, I'll scrape some deodorant on it, right, and like kind of like put it all around, and like I look at it, I'm like, it's not horrible anymore. At least it just like smells like Old Spice or whatever.
Yeah.
So go to the car. I got a rental car. Threw it in there, and I'm driving. I had this like big idea. I'm just, this is like an aside, that I was going to stop at a cafe and like prepare myself mentally, but LA traffic prohibited that. I wound up being like 30 minutes late, despite the fact that I was going to be like 2 hours early. So if you're in LA, like take your time, or don't take your time. Hurry up. So anyway, I go there and I put on the suit, and I'm conducting the interview, and they're like, whatever, this guy's a little, whatever, and it went really, really well. It went really, really well. At the end, I did get an offer, but about halfway through, I walked into the bathroom of Farmers Insurance in LA, and I am polka dot white stripes from the deodorant that I had scraped on it. Like, it had dried as white little things, and the whole suit is polka dot. And I didn't realize it, like, dried and it like turned into like polka dot. I wound up turning down that job partly due to embarrassment, but it could have been like a whole different career trajectory. Yeah. At one point, two of the three coworkers were talking, and like I heard one say, "I think it's the shoes." I think they're saying like she thinks the shoes stink. Like, no, it's my suit.
Wasn't that a Michael Jordan ad with Spike Lee?
Oh yeah.
Gotta be the shoes.
No. But that is the most. Oh my God. Should do some pre-planning. Always check your suit before you try it on, man.
No, that's awesome. I love that. Well, I'll start out.
I'm happy to report that now I have a whole closet full of suits I'd never wear, including a seersucker that I hope to wear someday, but have not yet.
And then another separate closet full of Columbia shirts that you do wear.
I wish they were in a closet. They're not. No, I got my funeral suit now. I got my job interview suit. I got my seersucker. I got a gray one that I don't even know what I'm going to do with. Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. But you want me to hit you? Let's do some back and forth on these if you want to.
Yeah, of course.
And some of these aren't necessarily embarrassing. Some are just weird. This one is for sure embarrassing. I think I shared it on the podcast a while back, but this is the first job I ever got. They had flown me out to Raleigh, North Carolina. So you can deduce where this is at if you look at my resume. And I went on site, did an on-site interview, was wearing a suit the whole day, didn't put deodorant on it, but it's
a power move. You put deodorant on.
I had like a backpack, and I knew at the end of the day, at the end of this interview, that I was going to be going straight back to the airport and flying home. I didn't want to wear a suit on the plane. Right. And so I get to the end of this job interview. I think there were some kind of car was going to be picking me up. I can't remember if they arranged it or I arranged it or whatever, but I was waiting on this. They put me in this corridor that looked like, it was empty. It was like kind of secluded. It was off to the side. And I was like, all right, I'm in this corridor waiting for this car to get me.
This is at the company?
It's at the company. And I'm like, why don't I just change here? Because like nobody's around. It seems like it's sort of like a closet.
Oh no!
And so I'm in my suit. I completely change all of my clothes because they had taken me into the building in a different part, and I was just exiting a building in this part. I was like, all right, no big deal.
So you're a little disoriented because of this.
I was completely disoriented. Like, it was a nondescript area, so I just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So I completely changed clothes, down to my skimmies. And the car comes to get me. I don't think twice about it. Like, no big deal. Then I get to work on the first day, and they say, and they bring us in. There's like a little orientation. They bring us in through the front door of the building, and they take me, and that was the lobby. So I changed clothes in the lobby of the office of the place that I ended up working, and I was mortified.
Strong move.
And I looked up in the top right hand corner of the room, and there was a little camera, and I was like, somebody saw this on camera, and I just died. Like I was like, I cannot believe that this happened. It was so embarrassing.
I mean, that's an awkward situation that it comes up probably like twice a year that you got to like change, or like there's something weird going on, and you just like make the best you can, right? Like, yeah, I understand like your predicament. That way, it would be. I thought you were gonna go somewhere different. Like on day one, they're like, "You're hired, but check this out. Check this out. We got some video we want to show you. Please don't do that."
Yeah, like that, like blackmail or something. But yeah, well, do you want to hit me with another one?
Sure. Why not? So I was working at a horrible fucking company in Austin. I don't even have them on my LinkedIn, so like don't look there. This is the place I told you that had the boss that she said we pride ourselves on not training people. And this is that place, and I hated it every day of my life. That I would dream about how much I hated this job, right? And then I'd
Mhm.
go in and hate the job. I mean, it was awful. But I interviewed at another company, which everyone has heard of. They're not super big, but everyone's definitely heard of it. And it was some sort of like survey development / psychometric sort of role. So like just sort of think about that. Anyway, so like I am interviewing with this lady, and she didn't like the cut of my jib, like at all. Right. And you can tell like immediately, like this is not a love match.
Yeah.
And it starts getting like more heated. Like she starts like getting a little like direct and a little more personal, this sort of thing. And by the end, she's like pushing me out the door. like I'm not having fun either. And like I start like I'm not getting this job and like fuck you sort of
Yeah.
situation too. And she at the end she pushes me out the door, like physically, hand and back, this sort of thing. So anyway, time goes on. I got my timeline wrong. I was still working in Waco when I interviewed for this company. Then I moved to
Mhm.
Austin, and I was looking for another job. So time goes on, probably about 2 years, and there's a company called Market Voice
Mhm.
in Austin. And I think that their sort of tactics are a little kind of underhanded. If I remember correctly, they're like scrubbing the internet of bad reviews for companies or something like that, and like
Mm.
making sure that people
Weird.
look good. But anyway, so I go in. I'm excited about this thing. I'd made it like through like 2 pre-rounds and go into the thing, and I sit down, and guess who fucking shows up? The same lady.
Are you
And she
serious?
says, "I remember you." And I said, "I remember you." The interview actually went okay, but I was like, this is not this is I did not get I mean by okay, I mean I was not forcibly pushed out the door,
Yeah.
but I was like, yeah, this is not going to be good.
Well, I was gonna go in chronological order with mine, but because you shared that, I have a similar, not the same story. I was interviewing. This was just a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5, at a tech company, virtual interview, and I was going through it with the hiring manager, and it got semi-technical at a certain point,
Yeah.
and they asked me a question of like, well, when should you use predictive analytics or like machine learning on the job? And so I give kind of a context laden answer where I'm like, there's caveats for when you should and when you shouldn't, but here are some examples when I have. And then they ask me, yeah, but when should you use predictive analytics? And I was like, I think I just answered that. And so I kind of like reiterated some of the points I made, tried to give some new examples, and they go, yeah, but when should you use predictive analytics? And so then I started getting frustrated. And I was like in a nice way, I was like, are you listening to me? Like, I think I've just answered this question. And I could just tell that they came from like a different school of thought than I did. And I was not like saying the things that reading from the songbook that they were reading from. And so I was like, I think we're just going to have to disagree or agree to disagree on this one. Needless to say, I didn't get that job, but I got so frustrated afterwards. I was like, why? It was like very passive aggressive. I wrote an article on when you should do predictive analytics and published it like the next day.
Yeah.
And then I even included some snippets of that article in my book to this day because I was like, this is such a weird situation. And I know the person, and they still follow my work to this day because like they were kind of a fan in a way. And so I was just like, why is this happening? Why is this being so like passive aggressive? And I don't know, just always kind of grinding my gears ever since then.
Is it something that what was it? What was it like a layman that doesn't understand what predictive analytics
Oh,
is, or is it someone very adept at?
yes, somebody who thinks that they know the one true way of doing things, and I was giving a different way, and they disliked it.
I mean, this is where like economists and IOs talk past each other quite a bit. I have no idea who you're talking about in this scenario, but I mean, there's variations in how people refer to things. It's interesting that happened, right?
Yeah. Well, you want to do a different
one? Sure. I have one more actual story. This is more like a cautionary tale. So once again, I was working in Waco. I was young. You make a lot of mistakes when you're young, and I can't remember the name of the company, but they were in Half Moon Bay, California, and I was like, I definitely want to get out there and interview with this company. It's like a small marketing firm. Anyway, this is the cautionary tale. They said, if you want to come interview, you can, but we're not going to pay for it. So I was like, all right, I really want this job. So I'm going to fly myself out there, get my own rental cars, put myself up in my own hotel. And I get there and like, they're not even prepared for me. They're like, oh, why are you here? Like, what is this? And it's like, well, we were scheduled to interview, and like, they didn't give a fuck. And like, they were kind of rude, honestly.
Yeah.
And so if the answer isn't hell yes, the answer is no. Right.
Yeah.
You don't pay for your own interview, anything like that.
Yeah, no, actually, I'll have a similar story on my list. There's a company based in Atlanta. I'd gone through a few phone interviews, and then they said they were ready to offer me the job. And I was like, okay, this is interesting, because this was back before the pandemic, so it was still like where you always close the deal on site, right? So they fly you out, you go on site, and they close the deal. And they were like, we're ready to offer you. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And it's like, are you wanting me to come on site? They're like, yeah, that's the one holdup, is we want you to come on site to do a final interview. But we're going to need you to pay for that to happen.
It's a sign, man. It's a sign about the company.
And I was just like, I kind of went back and forth on him, because I was like, should I do this? Cause I was actually kind of interested in the position, but I also thought that they were going about the process sort of weird. And then this was sitting off like my spidey signal.
Yeah.
And eventually I was just like, I went back and forth. I was like, yeah, but isn't it customary for you guys to pay? And they're like, no, actually, if you really want this job offer, you're going to need to fly yourself out. And by the way, there's going to be no relocation if we want you to move here. And I was just like, and so then I just get to the point where it's like, thanks, but no thanks. But it's like, and these are like really reputable companies. And so again, kind of the point of like people out there listening, like some of these are just weird and not embarrassing, but I think people get into a lot of these situations when they're interviewing where it's like, it turns into things that you would never think you need to negotiate on. Like, should I fly my own self out for an interview? Which it sounds like you did at the Half Moon Bay company, which is, I mean, it's just crazy to me.
Well, yeah. I'm like, for someone making like no money, having like an instant like $700-800 bill. I mean, this is like 2008, something like that.
Yeah.
You're like, damn, like that's like a half month's salary, a month's salary, whatever it was. And the red flags too, right? It tells you more about the company that should be like sending off, signals, like you said. Yeah. It's sort of a variation. I interviewed at a biotech company who's now defunct. I think I just saw that their stock had gone from like $100 when I interviewed down to like less than $1, and they were eventually acquired. But I submitted my expenses during, a couple of days after the interview, and they held on to that money throughout the rest of the financial year before they sent it to me. It took them like 5 months to send me like $120 in like, small meals and whatever expenses. And I was like, okay, you guys are like really struggling. And it showed later on.
That hits on a completely separate point. I always talk about like, I don't understand what culture is, but I have my own definition. And one part of the definition is culture is symbols. That's an extremely edge symbol to send somebody, say like, we're going to wait till the next fiscal year. Like, and it does not surprise me that that's related to the company being worth less than $1 now.
Yeah.
Right. Like those two things culturally seem to track one to one for me.
This same company was one of the weirder people I ever interviewed with. That she was like the director of HR, people analytics, whatever the hell she was. But like I sit down to interview with her, and she's like, "Here we cuss. We don't give a fuck about anything. It's shit everywhere. We don't give a fuck." And I'm like,
cool.
Fuck yeah. What do you want me to say? This is really fucking weird, man. Like, we cuss here. We cuss all the time. We love it. Okay.
I love it.
What a weird thing to say in an interview.
So I'm going to bundle a few here together just for sake of time. But like there was one company that in the middle of my job interview, they had a fire drill and they exited the whole building and no one came and got me.
Hell yes.
And then eventually somebody came back in the building and like, oh, you're still here? I'm like, yeah. I was like, I don't know where to go. Like, I don't have a badge. I need somebody.
Oh,
to, like,
you can't even get out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't have, if I'd gone outside the building, I would not have been able to get back in.
The candidate, like, I know it's like sort of like just performative in certain ways, but the candidate experience is so real. Like, it doesn't really matter to the big bad organization, but to that person, it's everything.
Yeah,
like the weird people you meet
and I did end up getting that job, which is interesting. One that I did not get, which is kind of similar, is it was like an all-day interview, and I had all the interviews in the morning, and then one of them kind of went poorly, and then they just left me in the room in the afternoon. Like
think about what you did. Think about what you did.
Well, the funny thing is, I was supposed to meet with like the hiring. I hadn't met with the hiring manager yet, and I was supposed to like spend most of the afternoon with them. And they just never came. And then no one ever came. And so I just started wandering around their building. Because at a certain point, like
you get bored.
Well, if they're 5 minutes late, you're like, okay, no big deal. If they're 30 minutes late, you're like, I kind of need to go to the restroom. I'm just gonna go find the restroom myself. After 2 hours of being late, you're just like, I don't give a shit. This isn't gonna work out. So I just start walking around because like I had somebody again picking me up at the end of the day. So I just had time to kill. I eventually wandered around the building and found their office and was like, hey, are we still talking? And then they apologized profusely and then gave me a campus tour and then let me leave. And I was like, okay.
They wasted more of your time now.
Yeah.
For a job you're not going to get.
So then there was another one. This is actually my worst experience ever, just for a variety. I just thought it was like, it was either intentional or unintentional, and both cases are bad, in my opinion. But I went to this company, and mind you, this was a car company, did not get this job. And I got to there and had to park my rental car in the grass in the parking lot, and many other people had to park their car in the grass because this car company literally did not have enough spots in their parking lot for their own cars.
Is this like in a city, like, or is this?
It was kind of out in the suburbs. It was like, big suburban office, but like they had literally like designed it to where people would not be able to park in their own parking lot.
Wow.
And so I get in there, I walk in the front door, they greet me around. Day's going fine. I've gone through a few interviews. Nobody's ever asked me if I can go to the restroom or if I need to go to the restroom or whatever. And it gets to be lunchtime. And so I'm like kind of like politely saying like, hey, do you guys have like a corporate cafeteria you could take me to? And they're like, oh yeah, we do. They took me down to the corporate cafeteria and sat there and interviewed me. Didn't give me anything to drink. They asked me if I wanted something from the vending machine, like a soda.
They took, do you have a cafeteria? Is like, he just wants a bigger room.
Yeah. And so they interviewed me in the cafeteria, didn't give me any food, didn't like offer to give me a soda. I was like, no, thanks. Still haven't allowed me to go to the restroom this whole time. I'm getting into the afternoon. One of mine wraps up. I said, hey, is there time for me to go to the restroom? They said no.
You go pee in the potted plant over there.
And so I'm going through this interview. I clearly need to go to the restroom. Like it's been a long day and I haven't eaten anything. I'm getting irritable.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? And I at the time, I think I was trying to sell my house, and I got a phone call from like, I think it was either my realtor or my finance company in the middle of the job interview. I never would have taken it normally, but I was just getting so frustrated. I just go, I got the phone. I looked at it. I saw who it was. I was like, I need to take this. I stepped out. I went to the restroom and I took the call. And then I came back and they were just like flabbergasted. Like, why would somebody ever do this? But I was like, I said, well, I needed to take that call and you guys hadn't let me go to the restroom all day. And so again, didn't get that job, but didn't expect to at that point because I was so frustrated. I was like, this is just like little common courtesy things. Like, why would you ever do that to someone?
I mean, that's not really like a learning experience for you. This is like raising red flags that people should be looking out for, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, some of these are embarrassing. Some of these are just weird. You know, I remember I have like two where like I kind of like I muffed it. You know,
Yeah, of
I remember
course.
there was this one another tech company where I'd gone through this whole day on site interview, and I thought it had gone pretty well. So I was thinking, you know, I think I'm probably gonna get this job. So I get into the last interview, and they bring in like this like super like probably a physicist person like SME on the particular topic they're asking me about, and they're like they pull
Okay.
out a whiteboard and they're like, we need you to write with algorithms all of the forecasting algorithms like in like latex format on this whiteboard, and I'm
Why?
just like,
Why?
this is over. So I started trying to like, I was like, I don't think I can do this, frankly. And I started trying to explain some of the algorithms I knew. This was not appeasing this person. And it's just like, yeah, I'm not getting this job. And so that wrapped up. I went into the lobby, and again, I was wearing like, you know, a sport coat and like a different pair of shoes. So I
Yeah.
started to change again in the lobby, not like fully changed like it happened earlier on, but I took off my sport
Right in
coat
front of the receptionist.
and I was changing my shoes in the lobby, and the person who had been like interviewing me all day walks out through the lobby and they were like, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you, like, thank you so much for coming today." And I was like, I like right in the middle of each other, like, God, I just got to quit changing in the lobby of places. Like, this is like a
I'm
problem.
Western. Come on, man.
Yeah. And I had this other one. This was a company in Pittsburgh where, and I think there's a generational gap thing where this guy. So it was like for like a people analytics job, but they put me and talked to like somebody in like marketing analytics to be like an SME, and so
Yeah.
we're kind of talking different languages. And so at one point, I think he's trying to assess like how like well read I am. He's like, "What periodicals do you read to stay up to date on your field?" And I said, mostly LinkedIn. And he's like, I could just see, he's like, I got you. He's like, oh, you don't read the Wall Street Journal or like Wired magazine or something like that. Like, I was like, no, mostly LinkedIn. And the thing I don't think that person realized is like the best content for our field is on LinkedIn. It's not in the Wall Street Journal. And so
It's
I was
like an
like, totally muffed
aggregation
that one.
format. Yeah.
I could tell that person kind of tanked me for the job. But I don't know. You got some more? I can bucket. I got a bunch more.
Uh, the what you just talked about is like really interesting. Like the where people's individual personalities come in and they're not really job relevant, right? Like not
Yeah.
this is like sort of things that I has harped on forever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why we want structured interviews and this sort of thing so these personalities don't come in. Just a couple other things that I remember is I remember a company asked me what I got on my last performance rating. We didn't have performance ratings. I said when I was in Waco. Never had a review, and the lady just did not believe me. She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you've definitely had. It's like, no, it's a company of like 30 people. Like, there's no performance reviews. Like, I can tell. I
Yeah.
can tell. I remember interviewing for some psychometrics. This is a misstep. Some psychometrics firm, small sort of thing, and the guy was asking me about factor analysis and like really pinned me to the wall about like specific rotations or something like that. I've never forgotten them since. There's other sort of things, but I think that's good enough.
No, that's fine. Well, I give you one where this is one of the ones where I like true like the thing earlier about predictive analytics or the guy like writing the algorithm on the board. I feel like that's like the exception. I don't know if you have one. I'd love for you to share. But have you ever had like a total meltdown, like where you just completely messed up?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I remember I was interviewing.
Your brain just goes sideways. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, like I remember. So, like some of the jobs you have to do, sometimes they'll make you like do a mock presentation or a
Oh
work
my
sample or
god,
something like
yeah.
that. And I remember this was with a company actually here in Dallas. Didn't get this job obviously, and they brought me in to give a presentation on workforce planning. And I was like, I should crush this. Like I've been doing this work through and through, and what leading up to the presentation, so like right before they had me interview with the incumbent who had done the job before, and they were giving me their view on workforce planning. And it was like 180 degrees different than what I'm about to present in a second.
Oh, you know it's about to be a fucking disaster.
And so I know I'm going into this and I'm about to present to an audience who is not going to like anything I say.
Yeah.
And I just melted, man. I went into.
Did you go ahead with what you'd already planned? I mean, like, there's no changing now, right?
What I try to do is kind of get half pregnant, and what I mean by that is like I tried to give my original presentation, but on the fly incorporate all this stuff that they had told me, which was the exact opposite of what I was saying. And I started twisting myself up like a pretzel. And eventually I was just like, this is not going well. I'm so sorry.
It's funny you say that. Yeah, I had this thought, and it doesn't necessarily relate to interviews, but like if you ever find yourself in like a mental pretzel about like what you believe and like what the facts are presented, you are wrong. You are wrong. Like you don't have to be like wrong about everything, but you're wrong about that specific aspect.
Yeah, like I probably should just double down and committed to the presentation I was planning on giving, but I was trying. Like I actually wanted the job, to be honest with you. And you get in these situations, and you're just like, I'm going to try to accommodate what they've said. It's not working, and then that's not working, and then that's not working, and it snowballs, and you're like, oh god.
Well, I mean, this is like, you're trying to generate some sort of like artificially some sort of social cohesion here, right? Like this is the way that I now know that the job is being performed. I mean, they may respect you more if you like, in all due respect to the incumbent, here's what I came up with, which is completely opposite of what you want.
I did have one. This was not that long ago because since the podcast started, I had gotten basically all the way to the job offers phase. And this shows my commitment to the podcast. I had a company who like basically was going to offer me like $100,000 from more than I was making. They were cool with the podcast. And then got to the offer stage and they weren't cool with it anymore. And I turned it down. And I regret that every day.
I hear that.
Oh man, that would have been so awesome.
I mean, you're making that big podcast money. The whole like,
I was like, I'm
$3,000 a year.
I'm standing on principle. I want to have a voice in the community. Like now,
principles are so overrated.
I'm like, screw my voice. Like, where's the money?
You want to do just a little small confusion matrix, just because, like, I think it's very apt.
The confusion matrix.
We haven't done this in a while. It's one of my favorites. Recruiters Gone Wild. So these are real questions, in theory, asked of people interviewing, collected from Reddit. So, maybe apocryphal, but they're fun anyway. Maybe you've been asked this question or similar questions, but like, how many windows are in New York City?
Oh, these are like the Google questions.
Yeah. How many cows are in Colorado or this sort of thing?
Yeah. How many buffaloes once used to roam the plains in North America? It's like, oh God.
I'm a little bit down with it. Like, just like, show me your thinking, show me your thought process, whether you get there or not. But it doesn't feel job relevant, right?
It's still, I mean, you have to have some kind of base level of knowledge, because what they want is you like estimate the amount of like square miles there are in the United States, and then estimate the areas that buffaloes might live in, and then the number of buffaloes per square mile, and then you could come to some kind of like roundabout estimate of how many it should be. But you still have to have some kind of base level knowledge of like how many square miles there are in the United States as a starting point, and that's the part that's a little unfair to me.
Well, if you're trying to come with the correct answer, I mean, all that stuff's you can look all this stuff up. Hell, you could look up, probably not how many windows are in New York City, but
how many golf balls are inside of an airplane. You have to know like how to do the circumference of a plane, and like what's the size of a golf ball, and how spheres actually, overlay with other spheres. And like,
so now you're really getting into your thought process here. I'd be like, 12.
Yeah, but like, I don't know any of that. Like, I don't know any of the, like, I can think through it. I don't know any of the math, because they're not just expecting you to go through the thought process. They want you to make an estimation. And if you can kind of deductively get to something reasonable.
Hey, this is Brent Skinner, host of Small Talk Window here at the Work Defined Podcasting Network. Have you ever wanted a short podcast to listen to during a coffee break of your workday? You've come to the right place. My guests dispense with the small talk as quickly as possible and settle into a meaningful conversation around the world of work.
it's all based on your estimates. I don't know if they're actually anticipating that you're going to get the right answer. I mean, if you did, they'd be like, "Wow, that's amazing,"
Sure.
but just like weed it down. Once again, like these are apocryphal, and but this one said, "Do you look at your shit after you wipe?"
What?
Yeah. Like,
Are
I
you
guess
kidding?
how would you not? How would you not? I don't know. Here's another one.
What are you learning in this situation?
What? Yeah. How? What job relevant skill would this be?
Yeah.
What would the company have to do for you to be successful?
I feel like that's a good question. Or wait, maybe I'm getting it. I thought it was, what are you going to do to make the company successful? Were you saying
no, other way around? What would the company have to do for you to be successful?
Oh, weird. What? I think that's like a really weird passive aggressive way of like asking like, how much am I going to get paid or something? Like, are you going to send me to conferences? Are you going to give me the resources I need to do my job effectively? I think it's just poorly worded.
I mean, there's situational circumstances. Maybe they're trying to modify the world around a person. I don't know. Like trying to get to that.
I don't know.
Do you know how to bake? Do you know how to bake?
That could be job relevant for certain professions.
There could be some aspects of like following directions, this
Well,
sort
not
of
just
thing.
that. Like maybe you're getting a job at a bakery.
Well, I mean, clearly. Do you have any social problems?
Ooh, that's getting illegal real fast.
I think a lot of these could be wildly challenged.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, so those are just a handful of questions that recruiters have theoretically asked candidates.
Yeah. Well,
you want to do a little nerdery?
Let's do some nerdery. The nerdery. How many articles you got today?
I know we're running a little short on time. I got them stack ranked, so I can go as long as I want.
Yeah, let's just go till we kind of get tired. How about that? Because I've got some, but they're fairly fast, like a more of rapid fire nerdy. I'll start you out with one. I am just a sucker for these type of polls. So I think this is a YouGov thing where it shows like Americans' beliefs on a particular characteristic of like how many people represent this characteristic, and then reality. Yeah. I love these things. I always eat them up. And so at the top of the list is, the have a household income of over $1 million. And so people estimate it's about 20% of people. The reality is it's less than 1%.
I'm sorry, I can't see I see the red line and the blue line. What are they? I can't see it.
Yeah, the red is the true proportion. The blue is the estimated proportion.
Gotcha.
Right? So at the bottom of the list, you have things like have a high school degree. People assume it's 65% of people. It's actually 89% of people. Similarly, like own a car is 66% of people. It's actually 88%. Like a lot of these are kind of like, like demographics. So it's like are Native American, and people put 27%. It's actually 1% of people.
As Chris Rock said, I've never seen a family of Indians just sitting at Red Lobster.
Yeah. Live in Texas is one. People assume it's 30% of people live in Texas. It's actually 9%. Left-handed, people assume it's about 33%. It's actually 11%. These are just funny things to me. Like I love these type of charts.
Well, I think what it really gets at is how the media like shapes our beliefs and what's actually going on. You get like the social media effect of all my friends are taking these European vacations. They all must be like wildly wealthy, and I don't know, screw the rich, or whatever it is. I don't have that. They have that. It's like, no, that's exceedingly rare. Exceedingly rare. It's like, how many people are above like 6'3"? Yes, women. Like, well, it's really like 70% of the population, 70% of men. It's like, no, it's like 1%.
Exactly. Well, you want to hit me with one?
Yeah, I found this. I apologize. I don't have my links pulled up, but we can drop them in later, maybe. It's called "The Hater's Guide to the AI Bubble." So the AI industry boom is built largely on the GPU sales of NVIDIA to a small number of tech giants, Microsoft, Alphabet, Apple, Tesla, Meta, etc. But their analysis of financial data shows that the major tech companies are spending $560 billion in capital expenditures, but only making about $35 billion in revenue. So you got 560 billions out, 35 billion in. And leading AI tech companies like OpenAI and Anthropic are losing billions despite significant revenue with no clear path to profitability. Most AI startups are unprofitable and struggling with high compute cost. It essentially shows that there's signs that there's an unsustainable AI bubble. I went through this guy's articles, who is Ed Zitron. His Substack is Ed Zitron's Where's Your Ed At? He has a lot of these sort of articles hating on Gen AI, and it's really kind of fascinating to take this sort of different perspective, like, because everyone's like all Gen AI all the time. Here's a guy saying like, there could be signs that it may not be sustainable.
Yeah. We had at work had to do one of these like predictions for the year 2025 back at the end of 2024. And I said something similar. I said one of two things is going to happen, or both, which is AI companies are going to have to start passing the true cost of AI on to the customer, or, you know, the cost of AI is going to have to go down dramatically, or both, right? Because this, like, it is very bubbleistic, if you want to use that type of term. If you continue to have something that produces or makes very little money but costs a lot of money.
I think that the overall hope is that the AI gets so good that it replaces itself, right? All the startup costs get devoured later on. So we saw, it was like Blue Seek, or I can't remember the name, Blue Whale. Deep Blue. They found that they could have a really powerful model with fewer chips, right? These sort of things. So you can like do a cheaper model by algorithmically, as opposed to having to, you know, go to compute directly. But, you know, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I got one on AI. Let me hit you with that one.
Sure.
So this is a recent article in ORM, or Organizational Research Methods. By the way, my second favorite journal behind PSYCH, by Andrew Spear, probably somebody we should try to get for the podcast.
I know you don't look at periodicals. Get out of
here. Yeah, not my periodic. I didn't look at the Wall Street Journal for this. It's also by Fred Oswald, a friend of the podcast, previous guest, and then Dan Putka. I did a webinar with him not the other day. So really, really esteemed guys. But it was called Reliability Evidence for AI-Based Scoring in Organizational Contexts. And what it's talking about is kind of like what this whole like Workday lawsuit is about, using AI-based scores instead of like human-based scores to score people. And just the net of it is,
these are for job interview situations.
Exactly. Gotcha. They assert that AI reliability estimations is a challenging task that requires a thorough understanding of the issues that they presented. They list quite a few issues. I'm not going to go through them all. And that the task is essential if we're going to use AI in organizational context. So I think basically what they've come to the conclusion of, there's a lot of issues. It's extremely hard to do this the right way, and that you should use caution, if not do it at all, at this moment. And so just wanted to call that out as like your public service announcement for today.
This is about the legal defensibility of using those scores.
Well, and the efficacy too. Not only like, can you defend in the court of law, but does this work? Is it reliable? Is it valid? And they go through the cases why.
Yeah, I think we're in a situation right now, like you have to have human in the loop, right? It's not, you can't be fully automated, and perhaps never should be, honestly. And I think that's the only way that you're actually going to be able to legally defend any of these things, like whether it's automatic job analysis, automatic resume scoring, automatic, promotion decisions, anything like that. You're going to have a human in there, be it, I don't know, maybe they're like searching for warehouse workers or something like that. Yep.
Somebody's got to be in the loop somewhere. What you got for me?
Okay. This I found this one a little wild. This is, not everything's for me. Like, I don't have hot opinions on Taylor Swift. She's not built for me. I don't have hot opinions on I don't know, Delta Sky Miles. It's just not for me. But anyway, this person, the article is towards sports reform, hegemonic masculinity and the reconceptualization of competition. So they essentially argue that hegemonic masculinity is a framework where stereotype masculine traits are overemphasized in sports. Essentially what she's saying is that sports is too based on winning and losing, right? And like this reinforces this sort of like masculine standard. So what their results found is that this study identifies that all sport outcomes are actually a blend of winning and losing, with ties being relevant information outcomes. It reveals that expanding sports outcomes to include factors like playing well, having fun, and improvement can lead to 32 potential outcomes that are beyond just winning and losing. And, we should reform this because it excludes a large portion of the population that may want to play sports.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where some findings are context dependent. Like really good research for elementary school students, really bad, and like real world applications of professional sports.
Really good if you're talking about individual sports. You want to get better at swimming. You want to get better at road race cycling, or you want to run a faster marathon, by all means. But like as soon as you get a team aspect, you kind of need the competition angle.
Well, it's not just team aspects. Like when it's about the stakes in the situation, right? So like NFL players are getting paid millions of dollars a year to be an outcome focused league. Like if you ever listen to like any of the coaches talk, they say we are in an outcome focused league, right? Which is essentially saying we don't care about process components that this research is pointing out. But if you're getting into like how do you teach kids how to play sports, absolutely. Trying hard, having fun, all this stuff matters because it's teaching the team element, the camaraderie, like the points of like why people even learn sports in the first place.
Yeah.
But ultimately in the highest stakes situations, it's only outcome focused.
You want to talk about like stakes, football specifically, more than any other sport. A player's physical well-being and longevity is directly related to the other people in front of them doing their job and, essentially winning that battle, right? If someone blows a block or like can't quite get it done, but is having a good time and improving, guess what? The running back's got a broken leg,
Well, and the funny thing about it is like the best coaches of all time are all process focused, right?
Mm-hmm. Nick Saban. Specifically,
that's all they talk with Bill Belichick, like all of these people, they talk about it. They say, focus on the process, focus on the process, focus on the process. So there is wisdom in it. It's just, they know that ultimately when they're evaluated on the outcome, and it's the process focus that will get them the outcome that they're looking for.
You hit me with the next one, bud?
Yeah. It's sort of related, but much more elementary. I love finding some of these articles, and it's, so another good find by Minerva Psychology. They've been crushing it lately with just some basic psychological research that they've been putting out there.
We need more of this, by the way. We need more sort of like just foundational things. Like we get too crazy with our wild analyses. Just give me some like solid things.
Oh, it's perfect. And I'll give you more as an example. So this one's titled, Why Do Some People Get Physical Things Done Without Getting Frustrated? And the task it's a very simple analysis. It's the relationship between conscientiousness and how frustrated people get when they go from sitting down to standing up in a task. That's it. That's the whole research. And it shows the relationship with 3 lines of people's amount of effort that they feel in terms of how much it took to sit down to stand up, their level of frustration, and low versus medium versus high conscientiousness. And one of the things that you find is if you're a lower conscientious person, you do feel like you expend, and as your effort expenditure goes up, you get more frustrated. And if you're a high conscientious person, you feel less frustrated. And I just love this type of research. Like this is the best.
That's a really interesting factor because like it is that, I'll go to like sit down on the couch and be like, damn it, I forgot my phone. And like then walk over and get the phone. It's like, damn it, I forgot my drink. And then like you sit down, like you're all ready to watch your TV. Like, damn it, the remote's over there. And then you got to get up again. I think so I understand like the frustration element definitely, but I think where the conscientiousness comes in is almost like if you're highly conscientious, you probably have all your tools or whatever you need around you. And therefore, like, you've already prepared your area, and anything that you may need to get up for is like a necessary movement. But it's, once again, if you're low conscientious, so you forgot the remote and the drink and the whatever, that's on you. And like, you got to do it like more often. That'd be my hypothesis.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. It's probably true. The funny thing is, this was a laboratory experiment. And so,
so it's controlled. Yeah.
So it wasn't like the conscientious people were more planned ahead. They just didn't mind going from sitting to standing as much, which I think little nuggets like that are so interesting.
Why would that be? I'm gonna have to think about this all day and all weekend. That's wild. Why would that be the case?
Yeah. Well, you want to hit me with another one?
What we got? Just a minute or two.
We got time. I don't know if you have more, like 5 or 10 more.
I have a couple more, but of varying quality. Here's one. This is an oldie. Workplace ostracism is more distressing than harassment. I'll just kind of summarize. I'll talk about it, whatever. So research shows that being ignored or excluded in the work causes more psychological harm than overt harassment. So they went out and surveyed 1,300 folks, and they found that over 70% of respondents experienced ostracism compared to about 50% experiencing harassment. And ostracism had a stronger negative effect on employees' sense of belonging, go figure, and organizational commitment compared to harassment. So findings suggest that managers should focus equally on preventing not only harassment, but also make sure everyone's in the fold, right? Included.
Yeah. I mean, I always think about, like, in the feudal times, if you got sideways with the king, they would say, we can cut off your head or you can be exiled. A lot of people actually choose cutting off the head. And it's like exile is considered worse in a lot of instances. And so I think it's just a way worse example of what you just shared.
There's so much that goes into, once again, it goes back to like sense of belonging and the need for social relationships. It's like you said, it goes back way. It's our foundational evolutionary nature. Like, we got to be part of the group, and if you were socially shunned, canceled, if you will, that's a punisher, and that's a punisher whether you did not live up to the org standards. But it says 70% of people feel like they're ostracized. That's not like there's like sub pockets in the organization that people want to be part of.
No, it's one of the reasons why I watched this show. So I recently got Hulu, and it's got like the whole series, the show Alone. Have you ever heard of the show?
Is that where they're out in the wilderness?
Yes.
Yeah. That's really good.
So unless I've been working my way through it, I find it fascinating. It's such an interesting kind of survey of human psychology. Yeah. You just have people that are completely alone for weeks at a time and what people go through. And the funny thing, unless you're getting attacked by a bear or you get legitimately sick or hurt, the number one reason people quit is loneliness. Right. And it's just like, it's like core to the human being. Like, people have been there. They're about to win. They're doing so great. They have created a self-sustaining environment out in the wilderness, or got plenty of food. And they'll just go, I'm sad. I'm lonely. I'm going to quit. Yeah. It's wild to see. It's like, wow, like these really are kind of our core motivations.
Fowler and Gustakis in their book Connected talk about loneliness, and one of the interesting factoids that they share was that even people with a lot of friends can feel lonely, and it's not necessarily about like needing one person. It's needing one person that you want, right? Like, you can be surrounded by a bunch of people, but if you have like a desire for someone else, that's where the loneliness kicks in.
Oh, that cuts deep. Deep.
What's up?
I said that cuts deep.
It's like, yeah, you could be surrounded by a bunch of people, but if it's not the one person you want to talk to, then you're lonely.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, you want me to hit you with one more?
Yeah. Do me one more and maybe get out of here.
Okay. So I found this. This is actually citing back to some research that came out in 2009. and it was based on a 65-year study. It's called the Terman Study of Gifted Men. It has 1,000 men that they tracked over 65 years.
I remember participating in this.
I bet you did. And it said the best predictor of career success of these gifted men was being ambitious as a child. So not any kind of match with their profession. Yeah. Evidence, and this is evidence for the view that if you're smart and motivated, it's possible to succeed anywhere. And then they said the best predictor of midlife career satisfaction was being satisfied by the time that you're 30. So if you're not satisfied by the time you're 30, you're kind of screwed.
It ain't gonna happen.
And then it says plus health and ambition. So being ambitious, being healthy, and being satisfied, which I feel like ambition and satisfaction are kind of too paradoxical, or, there's a conundrum there, but they don't really work that out. But they did say all the correlations are very weak. So in that kind of 0.1, 0.2 range. And so it seems like luck and unknown additional factors are quite involved in this as well. But this is fascinating study by the National Library of Medicine. I don't know. What do you think about this one?
Even 0.1 average across the population is fucking massive, right? And if I had to spitball, armchair sort of theorize here, which I will, this is all personality. Like your personality at a young age dictates like how much go get it, motivation, right? Running through a brick wall to get something. Your personality essentially crystallizes in your, late 20s. And if you haven't figured it out by then, you probably got kids or, a job, a career that you're pursuing, and trying to change that at that point. You got commitments now and you're not happy by then. Hey man, I'm sorry. Unless you have a radical change, is not going to happen, because you're going to keep going down this career path. I can't remember what the final insight was, but overall, I would say, personality is kind of set, and you got to really consciously change it. Yeah.
Well, we've cut across quite a few today, but I think this is why I continue to go back to the well of psychology being interesting. Is just these little correlations that you find with personality or life success or whatever it may be. And I don't know, I just find them so fascinating. But
well, it's not only fascinating, but it's kind of stuff you can use. Be like, I need to be more kind of keep yourself in check. You can't really regulate your level of ambition, but you can definitely monitor where you are and be like, okay, maybe I'll take more risk today.
Yeah. Yeah. It can, if you turn trait-based things into behavioral things, it becomes very much more empowering. It's kind of like the going full circle back to the job interviews earlier. Maybe you're an introverted person, but if behaviorally for a job interview, you can, feign being extroverted enough to give a good presentation or do a good work sample, that can be good enough to land you that job. So
yeah, man, I want to make a good impression. I put deodorant all over my suit.
Yeah, don't do that. But I don't know, man. This has been fun. Hopefully just being, vulnerable and sharing this kind of stuff with people, kind of, I don't know, makes people feel like, we're all human beings and that this isn't such a big deal and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Hopefully you feel good about this episode. I thought it was kind of interesting.
I can't wait for the feedback.
Yeah, or the lack thereof. Okay. Well, let's wrap this thing up. So you've been listening to Directionally Correct, the People Alex podcast with Cole and Scott, and today's guest, nobody.